Good evening, chat. How is everybody doing? It is Thursday night. Hope you guys are having a nice time. And yes, it's Thursday night and time for the Thursday night show. Want to say hello to everybody out there. We are live on Rumble, Twitch, and also here on YouTube. Hope you guys are doing well. If you guys, anybody in Rumble, let me know Rumble's alive. That would be good to know. And then also, last but not least, locals. We got a couple people over on locals. Before we get too far, I should say, welcome if you guys are new. My name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am a defense attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And yeah, this is our weekly show, episode 136. It's also 136 weeks in a row. But episode 136 of this show. And who's counting? Who's counting? But like I said, we are live tonight, Rumble, Twitch, and YouTube, and last but not least, locals. And you guys aren't aware what locals is. At potentiallycriminal.locals.com, it's basically Patreon, except I actually use it. I put things out there, and we actually have fun on it. So if you guys go there, just like Patreon, it's free to join. We have a community wall. You can post things. People can post stuff. You can talk with them. I post things. I'll respond to things. And then in addition to that, you guys get... if you support me for $3 a month, you pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free. You get access to the live shows, and the live shows are every Monday night. I will say the Sarah Boone trial, we ended up watching that instead, just because that was a big thing. We had to, we got to keep on top of the trial. But typically every Monday night starting at 8:30, we do a live show, and then every Thursday night after this, we do a show. We get to hang out. All the stuff we couldn't get to here, all the stuff YouTube doesn't let us talk about. We could do there. So it's a very fun time. And if you're not sure if you want to do it, if you're not sure if it's for you, you can use the promo code POTCRIM and you get 1 month free. And that's 1 month free access to everything and the live shows. If you don't like it, obviously there's no obligation. But if you are only a free member, you don't get access to the live show. So just want to warn you about that. But that's at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. So hope you guys see you guys there later today. This has been a very, very, very interesting week. There's been a lot of stuff going on here. We had the Sarah Boone trial, and, we got ready for it. We thought, oh, it's going to be like a 3-week trial. Here we go. It's going to be intense, and everything's going to happen. The prosecution was done in 2.5 days, and then Sarah Boone was done in a day. And the prosecution's pretty much wrapped up today. They have a couple more videos they're going to show. And we're going to get to what happened today. Actually, going to happen this week. But Sarah Boone's trial is almost already over. They are going to do closing arguments tomorrow. That's how crazy this is. Remember, guys, we thought this was going to be some epic, long battle. No, it's barely been, if you take out jury selection, it's like a 4-day trial. Isn't that crazy? I mean, we thought it was going to be a clash of the Titans, and so far, it has been very interesting. It has been very intense at times, but we thought there was going to be so much to it, and then, it all just dissipated very, very quickly. So it's very interesting when it happens. Very interesting when it happens. So that is one of the things we're going to talk about tonight. We got some updates in the YSL case, including the big one, as I stated in the title. Brian Steele's contempt finding was reversed by the Georgia Supreme Court. And yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. You could use the promo code Diddy did it. No, there's not a better code. Sorry, Zap. Also, if you guys are new, we usually wait a couple minutes, let people filter in so people can get in time. And then Provision of Grief says, Sean, you got me twisted regarding Owens. I thought he failed at first. And you talk about Proverbs 18:17. And Proverbs 18:17 says, the one who states his case first seems right until the other comes and examines him. And yes, I think at the beginning of the morning when the state's expert psychiatrist was getting examined, she fell apart very, very, very quickly. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter, and we'll talk about why it didn't matter. We'll talk about why it didn't matter otherwise. Muzzy Skeleton's been a member for 2 months. Says a mountain load, Sean. Mount Yayo. I get that reference. And we do have a little bit of an update on the RQ, the Rekieta question. Not a big one tonight, chat, but it's still one we need to talk about. Still one we need to talk about and one we need to look at. And it's, like I said, it's... Oh. All right, so where are we at here? Hold on here. Okay, where are we at now? All right. Let's see what else we got here. Linda Richard for $5. I'm a bleeding heart lib, but hey man, they mowed down their mom. What the fuck? And that's reference to the Menendez brothers. There's a big update in that. We're gonna watch the press conference because I do think it's very interesting to see what happened there. So I think it's about time to get started, chat. We've actually, it's not 10 minutes in, but we got a lot of people here. I think it's time to go. Hey, ooh, jeez. Yes, Eric's right. Baldo got zoom-locked. Yes, he did. Can we ban the spamming moron? No, I mean, if he's spamming, he can be timed out, but we don't ban people here. We generally run Somalia rules. But if he won't stop acting like a fucking idiot, he can be timed out for a minute. So. All right, guys. It is time to get started. I guess we'll get started with the trial we've been covering this week, Sarah Boone. And Sarah Boone's case has been very interesting. I was, overall, I mean, her attorneys are doing what they can with what they got. But this morning, the testimony of the state's witness became very critical because it appears the witness forgot to tell the defense during a deposition a lot of things she wanted to do and a lot of the opinions she had. And I thought this was really great. This could introduce a reasonable doubt for Sarah because she agreed Sarah might suffer from battered spouse syndrome. And I was getting ready to clip that all up for you guys. And then we ended up running into a big problem at the end of the day. They played clips of Sarah from her cell phone at the end of the day. And this was the wrap up of the rebuttal case. And I will say, the way they did this is absolutely brutal. They are running Sarah into the fucking ground. And there's little you could do except sit there and laugh because literally they are beating this woman to death. And it is brutal. It is just brutal what they've done to Sarah. I mean, there's no way around it. There's no way around it. There's no way around it here, chat. And I looked at it and just went, oof. So here we go. This is from the Sarah Boone trial. And as I said, they took her cell phone, they hoovered all the data off of it, and they found a lot of videos that make you go, interesting. And yeah. So here they are. Here they are. Here are this is from, we were watching it on the WKMG 6 channel. They actually had a really good feed. But this is from Sarah's case. Here we go.
5:30, correct, though? That's my understanding.
Which was...
Thank you. One jury should do.
So, remember, these are clips from Sarah's phone. Here we go.
First file being published is img_0665.mov. Date modified metadata indicates 12/3/2019, 2:05 p.m.
Whenever you leave the house, just let me know where you're going.
And you're gonna let me leave.
Yes. Just let me know where you're going.
And I get to leave the house.
Yes.
Exit.
Just let me know where you're going so at least I know where you're at.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I love you.
So it's not yank me back in the house and sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up?
No.
Yank.
No. Just let me know where you're going so I know where you're at. So if you don't come back, there's no certain time. You don't have to come home at a certain time because I'm not. You're grown up. I just want to know that if it does surpass a certain time, that's like shit. Where's she at? I know where you told me you were going to be at. So that way I can go.
So I'm not allowed to have friends.
Yes, nobody said you can't.
Wow, it sounds like Sarah's a fucking lunatic, doesn't it? Holy cow. Sarah sounds like a crazy woman.
Have friends.
I just go see Boone.
You can go see whoever. I just don't want you to go frolicking with male friends by yourself because you know what's happened already. You understand what I'm saying?
So I get to go see Boone.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I get to go see Boone.
I don't care about Boo. You can go to see Boo. Do you understand what I'm saying though?
I will also point out George looks very, George is very frail. Like, he looks like he's drinking himself to death.
Or 12:20.
Here's another one. And they just roll right through these, chat. There's just video after video after video.
Hi. Fuck you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's just tell everybody you got crumpled on the bed.
Crumpled? Crumpled. The word you're using is crumpled? Alright, so let's do this. My sheesh, you gotta put it all on my face, dude. I know you're filming me, but you gotta put it on. What the fuck is that? Stop.
Bum rush.
Yeah, you're bumming.
I bum rushed you.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways.
What was the choice?
So the choice was to beat your ass or get my ass beat or whatever.
No.
Huh?
Twas.
Huh?
Twas.
Twat?
Twas.
I like twat. I've been trying to get twat from this woman. I've been trying to. Hurting me. The phone. Man. I've been trying to get some of that right there. She found some other shit. I don't know what's going on. She's trying to film me, filming her, and blah, blah, blah.
I'm cooler than you.
No, yeah, you are. You are cooler than me. You are cooler than me. She is cooler than me. She is beyond cooler than me.
Oh, I want to get this on film tape. Did I take your cigarettes today?
No.
Did I take your cigarettes to the beach?
No.
Then who was my mom?
You. I blame it on you. Sorry. I apologize. Can I walk around this way and actually film it better? I don't want darkness because you're not dark. Ah, there she goes. There she goes. What are you filming? Are you filming me filming you? You filming me filming you.
I mean, these two are both lunatics, but Sarah is insane.
What's the thing you done me wrong by?
Man, I watched porno. And wait. It stopped.
My husband.
What's up? I was watching porno with my she don't like that. I'm not shrugging my shoulders or anything like that. Like it's not a big deal.
After you begged and pled and cried,
Yeah.
we trust you.
I know. I'm not shrugging my shoulders.
Say it. Beg,
Yeah.
pled, cried.
You begged?
I didn't. You did.
Well, whatever. Okay, yeah, I did.
Say it.
I begged and
Pled
pled
and cried
and cried
for me to trust you.
for you to trust me. But again, I'm not
Did
sure.
you?
Did I watch porno again? Yes, I did. But
Good. Are you drunk right now? So you remember this?
Guys, this one, when you start watching these, and I think it's interesting, Brewberries brought this up in a post, and I thought it was a very accurate thing. This is why Sarah filmed the suitcase. You see this, she keeps filming him and humiliating him, belittling him, and fucking with them and trolling him. We see this again and again and again and again and again and again. So it makes sense why all of a sudden she had her camera out and filmed George. It's because this is her MO. This is what she does to him. So that it's interesting when you think about it that way.
Are you drunk right now?
no, man,
How much alcohol did you drink?
enough to be drunk.
You're slurring your words. You're sleeping up against the door right now.
Yeah, because I want to be next to you.
Did I not tell you to not bother me?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is it you come up and do? What time is it right now? It's 1:20 a.m.
I haven't bothered you since then. I just fell asleep.
But didn't I tell you before at 9:30 to not bother me at all?
Yes.
Because why?
Yeah, that was tomorrow.
Nope. Because I've been up since 4 a.m. since yesterday when you fucked with me.
Yes, ma'am.
I know how much vodka was in that bottle. And what's the bottle now?
Kind of to throw it out.
What does that mean?
1 week tree.
The bottle's empty. I know how much vodka was in there. And then for two people to have a really good time. And who drank it? I want it to be documented that I'm leaving you, which means that you're getting out. You're getting out. You're getting out.
Nobody's leaving nobody. Stop.
And the reason why you were even downstairs and weak enough to get drunk was because you don't give a shit about me. You don't listen to what I say. Special things that I keep on my front page of my phone so I remember to tell you about it because of how special and fun it is. I always bother you. I always bore you. You don't listen to me. Yesterday was my first day at work, remember? And I ended up 90% hearing about your day and 10% about mine.
You don't bother me or anything. So sometimes you just you overwhelm me. That's a problem. You overwhelm me.
By telling you about my first day at work.
No, dude, you just overwhelm me about every other thing too. I just, first day at work.
So I'm overwhelming you by telling you about the fourth highest paid baseball player. That's a client of ours.
I'm not starstruck.
I don't even know who the guy is.
I don't need.
So the reason why, so you fully admit now that you didn't care and you did brush me off in the car, midway sentence, because you're not in baseball.
No, I didn't. Go ahead. I'm just saying.
I want to go to sleep. Go downstairs.
All right, yeah. I am.
I'm beating you, and I'm going to try and cancel plane tickets.
No, no.
Because I don't do special things for people like you that are doing this. Like, to me, after I asked you at 1:21 in the morning,
I'm not doing it.
I wanted to be asleep. I wanted to stay asleep, which is why I got into bed at 8:30. I told you not to step foot in the bedroom. So what do? Nonetheless, you're drunk. The amount of alcohol, I know how much is alcohol, I know how much is in it. That's why I could smell you in the bed before you actually got me up. I can smell you from here. You're despicable.
I'm not despicable. I'm not even doing anything.
Leave me alone.
Okay.
You're not gonna remember shit. Okay,
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not doing nothing right now.
get away from me. Get away from me.
I'm not doing nothing to you.
You do everything to me all the time. All the time. Heartache and pain is what you cause me. Heartache and pain.
How's that?
Keep going. And I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. You get on your fucking little bike and go to fucking work tomorrow. Don't look at me. Don't come close to me. Don't touch me. Do you understand?
What do you mean?
As of this moment, and until I can get you out,
Get the fuck out of
you're
here.
I dare you. Yep, look at it.
Get the fuck out of
Wait, get away from me.
here.
Get away from me. Get away from me. I'm gonna scream bloody murder. I'm gonna scream bloody murder. I will scream bloody murder. Get away from me. I'm
Dude, nobody's doing
gonna
anything.
fucking hurt you.
Nobody's doing anything. And you're filming it.
Let me go.
Nobody's doing anything.
I'm asking you, George, to get away from me. Please get away from me. Get away from me.
Yeah, I am. That was your function, dude. Malfunction. No, your malfunction is you, dude.
Okay, whatever you say. Whatever you say. Holy shit, the whole hallway just reeks of you up here. First it's shit, now it's alcohol. Don't step foot in this bedroom. I can't even breathe, like, it's disgusting. Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah, this kind of defeats the whole battered spouse syndrome argument if this is the way she treats them. And there's one more.
Keep filming with this. What you want? Good night, Sarah. Love you.
I don't love you. I don't like you. I don't want to be with you.
Then there's
Not gonna have
29.
Then there's this one, and this one looks like a hostage video. This is the one they ended on, and we're going to end on this and move on to the next thing with Sarah Boone. But holy cow.
2019, 4:04 p.m.
and I'm not gonna have no Hindenburg situation, no Titanic situation, okay? So it's gonna be a good day. Yes, I'm missing my mustache right now. And later on, everything's gonna go off. Truth.
Not
Facts. Truth and facts. All of this is going to be mentioned later on. We'll take another video again later on when it happens. Love y'all, whoever watches this video.
no. That's not approved.
The FBA says it's approved.
So it's gonna be a good day all day.
Yes, it is. Even when
All
I
day.
shave all of this
All
off.
day.
Yes. Even when I shave all of this off.
All day.
It's going to be an amazing day.
It's what time right now?
Shaboing
I
boing.
would say 9:30. 7 o'clock maybe.
Shaboing boing. That's what we're doing later on. Shaboing boing. You can stop filming now.
Not good enough.
It's gonna be a great day. Today's a great day to have a great day. Boom. Cut. Somebody come in with a. Can somebody come in with a? Can you not?
Next file is image_0.
I mean, guys, that seemed like a freaking hostage video, didn't it? Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane from this. The way she treats him. Just the way she treats him. Just absolutely awful. Fruitfly says that was awful. Yes, it was. It was. But there's even more that's actually come out in the Sarah Boone case here. And it's a filing by the prosecution. And this is very interesting. And this was filed just recently. And this is a request from the state. They filed this on the 21st. So it's only a couple days old, but it's in the middle of trial. And they filed a motion that was a little interesting. They want an in-camera hearing. And guys, in-camera hearing means no, it doesn't mean cameras. In-camera means in the judge's chambers in a private hearing to figure things out. In-camera does not, like I said, in-camera does not mean they want cameras there. But yes, the entire public would be excluded, but they want an in-camera hearing regarding the financial arrangements between the defendant and the defense team. So you're like, ooh, what does this mean? Well, gets a little interesting here. It gets interesting. So they point out, and the prosecutor's making a couple of arguments here. And the first one is the defendant is indigent. And that's true. She is indigent. Sarah Boone cannot afford an attorney. She is indigent for purposes of determining her eligibility. She clearly doesn't work. She hasn't had a job. You know, it's been over 4 years. There's no way she can support an attorney on her own right now. And she's had multiple court-appointed counsel. All of her last couple of counsels before James Owens were appointed. She had several appointed lawyers. Currently, she is receiving funding money from the JAC because of her indigency. And because she's receiving that money for expert witnesses and for her private eye. So apparently only the investigator is being paid with JAC money. In the meantime, she has secured the services of 4 attorneys and a jury/trial consultant. And perhaps more people the state is unaware of at this time. The defense team is expending a tremendous amount of costs, having traveled from Milton, Florida to Orlando, Florida for a several-week trial. The entire team returned to Milton, Florida. And guys, we already talked about this. This is up on the Panhandle prior to the arrival of Hurricane Milton, and then travel back after it passed, incurring additional costs. Now, why is the state doing this? They're concerned about a potential conflict of interest between the defendant and her team. And why is that an issue there? Well, they're concerned, I think, ultimately, if that becomes a issue where she could argue my attorney screwed with me and, ruined my ability to have a trial because they extorted me, or there was money involved, or there were problems. And here's how this works, though. There are rules as far as conflicts of interest are concerned. You're not allowed to solicit gifts from clients. For example, if I was one of your guys' attorneys and I helped you write a will, and I'd been your attorney for 25 years, you're like, oh, you've done so much good for me, Sean. You've helped my family out so much. You've counseled us. I want to square you up. You can't do it. You can award me a payment that's not in the will, but I can't take a testamentary gift. That's going to be a little awkward, and I wouldn't want to accept it that way either. I also can't, and more importantly, if you're awarding me a gift, I can't prepare the documents. So if you're going to give me money upon your death, I can't be the one who writes the will, because then it looks like I extorted you, or I exerted undue influence. There are other things they have to worry about. And that's one I think they're worried about is here. I think they're worried that Sarah Boone has promised them the rights to her movie. Or like the rights to her story. And I don't think that's happening here. I don't know what they think is happening, but certainly, they're going to ask, but I think at the end of the day, that's probably what they're arguing about. Now, they point out the only way for the court to note there's an actual conflict of interest rather than a potential one is to review the financial arrangements between the defendant and her team. If there is a conflict, the defendant can waive it with clear, unequivocal, unambiguous language. And they said for the waiver to be valid, the record must show the defendant was aware of the conflict. The defendant realized the conflict could affect the defense, and the defendants knew of the right to obtain other counsel. Well, she has that right, but nobody else is going to work with her. And they want the court to conduct an in-camera examination of the financial arrangement to assure there is no actual conflict of interest. Fuck that. No way in hell would I agree to this. And I hope Sarah's attorneys say this is bullshit, because they shouldn't. I mean, if they have proof, fine, offer your proof. But for right now, her attorneys acknowledge we're working for free. This is absolute nonsense. The fact they want to try this. And I think they should be probably, rebuked for this, because this is a bullshit motion. So they want her to waive. Well, listen, Marie saying at the end of trial, yeah, but at that point, if there's problems, the trial's over and there's no way to cure stuff. So I don't know why they brought this up now. That's the other issue I'd bring up is it's been how long now when they're doing it? Like, you guys didn't know this before the trial was going to start? Like you did. But anyways, yes, there are multiple attorneys on this team. You got James Owens. You got Kevin Beck. You've got Tony Henderson. Tony Henderson's the black guy. Kevin Beck's the guy in the back who comes in every once in a while. And James Owens is the lead on this. So I think this is a load of shit, and they don't have the right to examine it, absent actual evidence. Just saying, oh, I've got a shitty feeling about it. No, I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. So. Yeah, don't forget Shelby, but I thought Shelby was a paralegal. Pegasus says Owen said it with Vinny. Wait, what did he say with Vinny? Sarah's attorney said they're not working for free. I heard it. Oh, okay. I thought they were. They're not getting paid by the court. They're not getting paid through the public defender fund, so I wonder what it's going to be. What would the movie? What's the movie? Oh, fucking Lifetime would make the shit out of this movie. They would make the shit out of this movie. You know they would. 100% they would. Nick says Sarah's a psycho. Sadie says she's a control freak. Oh, I agree. KJ gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, KJ. Ag gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Ag. The amateur iconoclast also with 5. Thank you. Thank you for the support. EDW Raptor with 5 more. Thank you, guys. And then Lone Alaskan tied one on for himself there. Thank you for the support, guys. I appreciate it. I very much appreciate it. Hunch the Dirty Roofer, it's good to see you, man. Hope you're enjoying Ohio. Says, Sean, you could say they are packaging her up like luggage. Yes, yes. You can almost say they're packing it all in for. Then KJ says Sarah perjured everybody with that 98 pounds lie. Well, at the time, I bet she was 98 pounds. She's put on a lot of weight since she's been in jail. It's you eat neutral loaf, you eat carb dense food, and you don't get to go anywhere. So, and then Zap Brannigan says these videos are supposed to make you feel bad for the guy, right? They do. I mean, at the very least, they don't make you feel bad for him. Is realize Sarah's a complete fucking horrible human being. So that's the other issue there. That's the other issue. Casey Anthony could play the detective in the movie adaptation. She could. She could. Sarah Boone says women get. Sarah Boone's 13th lawyer says women get fat in prison, men get skinny. Actually, it's a kind of common thing. Actually, maybe Sarah's girlfriend's paying for it. That would be hilarious. Oh. She won't need all that alimony where she's going. Yeah, that's the other thing. Sarah's husband's got to be thrilled. He won't be paying alimony ever again. Oh, holy cow. I just saw this pop up on the screen. Stephen Cooper for 50 memberships. Let's go, chat. Let's go. Wow. Thank you. Holy shit. Appreciate the support, man. I appreciate the support, and I know people appreciate that. I mean, let's remember, this is Grays Keep Walking. This is a green chat only. Genociding those Grays, getting rid of them. Oh. Eric says, won't she need commissary money? Yeah, if you want to send it in, I bet she lets you. Don Duck says, God bless the goal. Yes, God bless the goal. Oh. Garfield says, when am I going back on the casino? Whenever they want me. I mean, like they're busy. They're doing Keenoween. I mean, like, it's up to them. It's their show, man. They don't ever do that where you go pester people. That's kind of like, that's imposing yourself. That's pretty cringe. But yeah, someday. All right, guys, moving on from there. There have been some updates in the Young Thug trial, and one of the first ones we'll start with is Brian Steele. If you guys remember, Brian Steele was the attorney when he confronted Judge Glanville about the ex parte hearings. Judge Glanville's first comments to him were, "Who told you?" Not, "Hey, you're right, I broke the rules." No, it was all about who told you this is not right, and he went after Brian Steele. He went after him. And since then, he held Brian Steele in contempt because he refused to disclose who told him about what happened and who told him about the ex parte meeting. And as this went on and on and on and on, and if you guys don't remember it, this is the actual part of that hearing here.
You all are really getting yourselves cross purposes at this point in time. Sir, I'm telling you, you are at this point in time. You made some things out of nothing. I think that you're on very precarious ground at this point in time. So I'm telling you at this point in time, he's in custody. We're going to go ahead and start. You can represent Mr. Williams. That's okay. That's fine. I'll take up the other stuff as needed, but I'm not going to take it up right now. Say again? Respectfully, I will not. I cannot. Sir, you have to. Well, you're going to have to do the best you can at this point in time, because you don't get to extort the court. That's what you're attempting to do at this point in time. Sir, yes, you are. What you're trying to do is, I'm not going forward if I don't get this. It doesn't work that way, Mr. Adams. And I'm telling you at this point in time, I would just kind of Govern yourself accordingly. Sir, I'm telling you, as the court, under these particular circumstances, everything will come out as it should. I don't think, sir.
Anyways, chat, we're going to skip ahead. If you guys don't remember Brian Steele, this is Brian Steele right here. This is Keith Adams. These two are both attorneys for Young Thug right here. This is Young Thug. You know, as we learned, he's truly humble under God. So this is Brian Steele, and he got held in contempt and refused to tell the judge the information the judge wanted. And Brian Steele, like a true gangster, gets ready to get taken to the jail.
We are not obligated to simply accept that there's been no violation. We believe that there has been. And the only
Okay, well then you've made no, we're not doing that at this point in time. So you'll have a choice to make. All right, take Mr. Steele into custody, please.
If you guys remember, this all occurred back the first week of June.
Your Honor, would the court afford me one moment to confer with counsel regarding the appropriate remedy in this type of
Okay, all right.
And here he is. Look at him. He just takes his tie off, takes off his belt, and says, "I dare you to send me to fucking jail." Takes his shoes off.
May I say one thing, Your Honor?
Yes, sir, you certainly may.
Mr. Williams does not wish to go forward without me being here. You are removing me against his will, my will. You're taking away his right to counsel. And you're conducting material parts of this trial without me present, and I can't learn about it by watching online. So for that reason, additionally, I asked for a mistrial. And I assume you denied, but I'd like you to deny our motions for mistrial. You denied the other people.
I've denied your motion, but I'll certainly take that under advisement, sir.
And yes, and then Judge Glanville, if you're watching this, like the true bitch you are, you back down. And thankfully, though, you back down, but only after you sentence him to 20 days in jail, which you then allowed him to serve for the next 10 weeks on every weekend. And Brian Steele's response at that point was, "I demand to be jailed to my client so we can prepare for the next week." Well, within the next morning, the case was already in front of the Georgia Supreme Court, and they put a stay on everything. Well, this week they came out with their ruling. And let's see here. Yes, well, he's a terrible, corrupt judge. Good news is Judge Glanville's long gone off this case. So that's the good thing. And what happened? Well, the Supreme Court of Georgia got involved, and they clapped on this judge mighty hard. And this is the case right here. And I think it's not very long, guys, but it's worth getting into. Anyways, this is Steele versus the state. And this was decided unanimously by the Georgia Supreme Court. So at least the Supreme Court has decent judges. Anyway, the trial court found Brian Steele in contempt of court for refusing to tell the court how he learned about the court's ex parte hearing with a witness and prosecutors in a case which Steele is representing one of the defendants. Steele appeals from the contempt order, arguing the evidence did not support a contempt finding because it interfered with the court's administration of justice. His information was protected by attorney-client privilege. And the reason why it's protected by attorney-client privilege, guys, attorney-client privilege isn't just stuff your client tells you. It's information you gain in the representation of your client. So the way it works, if I learn information that's important to my client's case and I learn that information is privileged. Now, there may be times where I will use that information on my client's behalf, but I don't have to disclose where I got it from if there's other ways I can, produce evidence or do other things with it. But I have to protect things given to me with the same types of privilege, the same types of confidentiality. I can't be forced to disclose everything. And they point out, because the court delayed punishment, the alleged disobedience was directed toward the court, and the court was involved in the controversy that formed the basis. Due process required Judge Glanville to recuse himself from the contempt proceeding. We therefore reverse the judgment imposed. Now, guys, if you remember, we talked about this multiple times. We had multiple shows. It was myself and Steve Gosney. We were coming on talking about this like every day. There were the updates for this. Judge Glanville kept on ignoring the motions to recuse and kept on acting like a big fucking asshole about it. Yes, Judge Glanville, you're a big fucking asshole and dickhead. And it kept going and going. Well, the Georgia Supreme Court just comes in and goes, you didn't do it right, Judge. And finally it happened. So the record here talking about this basically talks about the RICO case against Jeffrey Williams, also known as Young Thug. And as this goes on and on and on, the following Monday, they point out, and this is on the record, they're admitting this happened, Judge Glanville had an ex parte meeting with the witness, the witness's attorney, and the prosecutors and investigators to discuss whether this witness would testify. The witnesses gave limited testimony before a lunch recess was taken. Following the recess, Steele informed Judge Glanville that he learned about the ex parte meeting and moved for a mistrial. Judge Glanville said he was disturbed because that's ex parte. Well, that doesn't mean shit. You have to tell the other parties if you do an ex parte thing. You can't do things in secret. Now, Judge Glanville said, if you don't tell me how you got this information, then you are going to have problems. And Steele refused to reveal his source, which turned out to be one of the court security officers later. One of the court deputies told Brian Steele. And Judge Glanville told Steele, it's disturbing that you surreptitiously gotten information in regard to the private meetings. Well, that's not how that works. Steele claimed the information was covered by attorney-client privilege, and Steele said it was attorney work product. Judge Glanville then took a recess. Judge Glanville then said the only way you could have gotten the information, and it wasn't through work product. And he asked to reveal his source again. He said, I'm going to hold you in contempt if you refuse. And Steele said, I don't want to be held in contempt, but I'm not going to tell you. And Brian Steele said, Rule 1.6 of confidentiality, I can't disclose. Because he has to maintain confidence in all information gained in the professional relationship with a client. Judge Glanville said, I'm going to hold you in contempt, and you can think about it. And he said, at 5 o'clock today, we'll see where you are. And Judge Glanville said he wasn't asking for what was said, only for Brian Steele to say, who told you? And Brian Steele said, I can't tell you that. And Judge Glanville told Brian Steele, you can't eavesdrop and get information that was not meant for you to hear. Listen to this judge. This judge in a criminal case is saying, you weren't meant to hear myself and the prosecutors talking to a witness where we basically promised the witness, you can lie about committing murder and we won't prosecute you for it. That's literally what happened in that meeting. And listen to this judge. Listen to this judge. Jack Metz says, good on Steele. He didn't rat out his source. You could get disciplined for breaking confidentiality. Number one. Number two, who will ever tell you information in the future if you talk? Brian Steele has been shown now you can give him information and he will keep it 10 toes down, as the kids say. He won't buckle. He ain't scared. An attorney that doesn't keep confidence ain't worth shit. And that includes confidence for anything. Somebody may confide in you a secret or a personal issue. Or, if they confide in you privately about a very personal thing, like a mental health scare. Any attorney who would breach that is a piece of shit. And nobody would want them as an attorney. Something to think about. Something to think about. I mean, attorneys can get disbarred for breaking confidence. That's up there with stealing money from clients. You can't, the 3 cardinal sins for attorneys: stealing money, fucking your clients, and breaking confidence. Those 3 are fatal. And that last one will destroy your career because nobody will ever trust you if it's known you fucking talk. Can't be no snitch. Can't be no snitch, chat. And and guys, I know we already talked about it before, and we covered these as it happened live. Steele said to him, "Do whatever you want to me until 5 p.m. or after," but he said, "I'm not going to do it." When Brian Steele said he wanted to get to the substance of the ex parte conversation, Judge Glanville told Steele he'll be in custody until 5 p.m. And it went back and forth and went back and forth. Brian Steele was not immediately taken into custody because Judge Glanville bitched out. And Judge Glanville told Steele he cannot hide behind Rule 1.6. Well, it's not really hiding. He's telling you, I have duties and obligations. And there are times where you will have multiple duties before a court. You'll have a duty of confidentiality and a duty of candor and a duty of this and a duty of that. Happens all the time, chat. But in this case, it's very straightforward. There is only one duty, and that duty is to his client. And then Brian Steele said, why were we excluded from the ex parte hearing? The prosecutor then jumps in and tries to make arguments why the hearing was not improper. And why is she getting involved? Because they're trying to cover their ass because they're in trouble too. Brian Steele's co-counsel, the Keith Adams, the black guy, jumped up and said, I also have the same information. Basically said, Judge, I guess you're going to have to put me in jail too. Steele's co-counsel renewed the motion for mistrial, which other defendants joined. And Glanville denied all the motions, not a surprise, and said he was going to proceed with the trial. At that point, and you heard the judge, he says, you're all getting yourselves cross-purposed at this point in time. You made some things out of nothing. Well, no, it was actually a pretty big deal because you shouldn't have done that. And you're on very precarious ground at this point in time. But they weren't. They were entirely in the right for what they did. Entirely in the right for what they did. Entirely right for what they did. So Judge Glanville said, well, hey, there's 2 attorneys. One of you can represent Young Thug. The co-counsel again asked to address the ex parte issue, but Judge Glanville refused. And as they were being taken away, Brian Steele said one thing, and it was denying Young Thug his right to have counsel and moved again for a mistrial. Judge Glanville denied the motion and said the court was going to take a recess. And Brian Steele was walked into the back. When the proceedings resumed without Brian Steele present, the judge ordered co-counsel to continue representing Young Thug and said they could consult with Brian Steele on breaks. The attorney, Keith Adams, said, I'm not going to do that. And then one of the prosecutors said, well, you can fashion a contempt that would still allow them to continue representing the guy. At that time, all the other defendants said, hey, can we get a transcript of that ex parte meeting? Remember, and that was a major thing, guys. Remember, there was the entire scandal about having the ex parte transcript. And then there was the issue of how do we know the transcript hasn't been adulterated? Just absolutely fucking insane shit coming out of this courtroom by this judge. So fucking crazy. And they refused to accept the representations of the judge and the prosecutor that nothing was inappropriate, and they shouldn't accept them. Both of them did something wrong. You can't trust them to tell the truth. Judge Glanville said an appellate court could tell him if he was wrong, and there were other courts in Georgia that could review his conduct. Yeah, well, they are definitely going to fucking do that. They are going to do that. And that means they created the Supreme Court of Georgia, the Georgia Court of Appeals, and then the Judicial Qualifications Commission, the governing body for judges. So the judge kept threatening Brian Steele and kept going on and on and on and on. At the end of the day, Steele was asked again if he was willing to reveal who disclosed the information. And then at that point, the Georgia Criminal Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, led by Ashley Merchant, their president, remember, she's the lady who burned down Fannie Willis at those hearings we watched for multiple days, along with Steve Sadow and the other attorneys down that way. Oh, shit, chat. These guys showed up in force. They showed up, and you're going to laugh, but they call them strike teams. The Ohio Criminal Defense Lawyers Association has one of these too. Lawyers who will respond and are ready and able and willing to come defend an attorney who gets in hot water. And he had counsel right there waiting for him who started arguing on his behalf, who effectively represented him. Because remember, you can't represent yourself. Why? Because you'll fuck it up. That goes for attorneys too, even good ones. Even good ones. Yes, Ashley Merchant, yes. Yes, it is a QRF for the law. It happens. Yeah, there were like 25 lawyers that showed up in the courthouse hallway ready to rock and roll. And Judge Glanville wouldn't let them all in the courtroom. They all showed up ready to fuck. And yes, we have one of these. We have one of these too in Ohio for the Ohio Criminal Defense Attorneys Association. What are you saying here? Forum said, he says, what happened to Glanville? He got recused, forcibly recused, but that's all we know for now. Young, no, we're not going in order. There's a bunch of stories to get to. Remember, we have like another hour and a half of show. But yes, they rolled up deep, ready to fight. Yeah, they were DTF. So these attorneys showed up. And they sent an attorney to represent Steele because the court accused Brian Steele of eavesdropping, which is a crime. Judge Glanville informed Steele's attorney that he was about to enter an order of contempt. And that was the only thing I'm trying to do at this point in time. Steele's attorney, Ashley Merchant, argued that due process required Glanville send the matter to another judge since Steele was entitled to a hearing. And Glanville would be a witness at that hearing. Judge Glanville rejected those arguments, sentenced Steele to 20 days in jail to be served on the weekends, and entitled that Brian Steele is not entitled to a supersedis bond, which means he's not entitled to post a bond in the meantime. The written order did not provide Brian Steele an opportunity to purge, and this appeal ensued. Steele challenges the grounds. We don't reach these grounds because, remember, the idea of issue preclusion. If we can meet the issues on the first point of appeal, we don't address the other ones because we don't have to. We've addressed it. We don't address other issues because now it's done. So they agree that Brian Steele needed to be afforded due process, and Judge Glanville should have recused himself. That's gotta fucking hurt for somebody like Judge Glanville being a fucking asshole for over a month and then finally getting his dick slapped like that by the Georgia Supreme Court. So, anyways, precedent makes it clear that individuals facing criminal contempt are entitled to due process. And that's true. And the reason why it became Crivel versus Seminole is civil contempt. It was because of the contempt order was criminal in nature because it punished Steele for his past conduct, refusing to talk and offered no opportunity to purge. And how do you purge contempt? Normally, you purge contempt by dealing with the issue. So there are times where if you get held in contempt for being disrespectful or something like that, you could purge the contempt by apologizing. Or in child support cases, if you owe a lot of money, you might get held in contempt of the court for not paying child support. And the court may avoid that by giving you a chance to purge and make a payment. So they say what due process is depends on, in part, whether the contumacious conduct occurred in the court's presence and whether the court announces punishment immediately. And that's what happened here. It happened in the court's presence. He said, I heard this. And the judge like, what? And he threatened to put him in jail right away. When the conduct occurs in the presence of the court, a trial court has the power, when necessary, to maintain order and declare the conduct to be contemptuous and announce a punishment summarily. Without further notice or hearing, so long as the contender has been given an opportunity to speak on his own behalf. And that does happen. That does happen. You walk into a court, and I've seen, like I've told the story before. The guy in custody starts telling the judge to fuck off and starts talking shit to her. And she starts giving him 30 days at a time. And he says that he says, I got more push than you got time. Is that the best you can do? And she gave him she was up to 150 days of contempt. And the guy had to serve them all. And she ordered it to be served. So it happens. So as they go on here, these situations are limited to conduct that normally occurs in open court, because that threatens the court's ability to conduct its proceedings where a witness refuses to testify or a party disrupts the court. And that's, once again, get up and hoot and holler. The situation is different when the conduct does not interfere with the court's proceedings and thus does not need to be punished immediately. In those cases where the court delays punishment or the conduct occurred outside the court's presence, more due process is due. And that's kind of important, because if you do something outside of the judge's presence, how does he actually know you did it? You have the right to challenge that. You have the right to prove it didn't happen. You have the right to say, Your Honor, that's not true. If the announcement of punishment is delayed, the court must give the contender reasonable notice of the charges and hold a hearing. If the punishment is delayed and the conduct was directed toward the judge, the hearing must be conducted by another judge. And they point out that here's what happened. Judge Glanville punished Steele summarily for his refusal in open court to comply with the order. He placed him in custody and had him removed from the courtroom, but that punishment is not subject to the appeal because it got fixed. Brian Steele was allowed to return. It was given till the end of the day to comply with the court's order. Judge Glanville said he was in contempt, but didn't announce what punishment he would impose. Because the announcement of punishment was delayed, Steele was entitled to additional due process. In particular, he was entitled to have the matter heard by a different judge, and the repeated refusal to comply was conduct directed toward the judge. And it was to challenge the propriety of the ex parte meeting, and they asserted he could not legally comply with the order to disclose his source. The exchange makes clear that Judge Glanville was involved in the controversy. They said for these reasons, a different judge should have presided over the contempt hearing, and the failure requires reversal. And they go through all this, and they say judgment reversed. All judges concur. That's how bad Judge Glanville fucked up. All the judges said, done. Done. Absolutely done. Danny Hardy says 150 days, that hurts billable hours. Yeah. Okay, so and anyway, guys, so that was the good news there. The good news there was that Brian Steele survived. But what happened this week? Well, things got even worse for the prosecution. The case is now teetering on. The case teeters on the precipice of a mistrial, and we know this at this point. And it all comes down to what happened here at this hearing.
Yes.
And this is what started it all. And this is the testimony of a guy on the stand, and he's reading through State's Exhibit 37NN. And obviously, it's an Instagram post, and it says, "Ain't none more compatible than a trench, a carbon while in the trenches." And it says, you know, and you go through all this, and you're going to listen here. You're going to hear a guy say something. And from here, this kicks it all off.
Hashtag 2Bs. Life size.
And is there another hashtag?
Free Quay.
Is there another?
Now, you guys see right here, there's a blacked out part. This is redacted. That's probably what the guy was reading Free Quay. That was redacted in the thing they put on screen. But it sounds like the prosecutors didn't give that guy the redacted copy. So that's a big oopsie poopsie. But you can hear the prosecutor go, "What?" But anyways, we'll do that again.
Another hashtag.
Free Quay.
Is there another hashtag on the screen?
Oh, no.
Your Honor,
It's in this paper
Your
right here.
Honor.
You got me reading.
Your Honor, I have to make a motion.
And then that motion was a motion for mistrial. And the state is trying to say, no, Judge, we don't need to have that. And the judge, Judge Whitaker, I will say, as much as she's getting mad at them, engages in what I would call high-dollar bullshit. Because she refuses to grant a mistrial right off the bat and won't do the right thing. But she does bring up her frustration that she's basically wasting time fixing the state's mess.
Trying to do is fix your sloppiness so that everybody won't have wasted, 10, 12 months of their lives in this trial.
Yeah, we can come over.
Okay, do it now.
Now, I will point out, Judge Whitaker, I hope you're watching this too. Honey, look at me, honey. It's not your job to make sure the prosecutors have a good case. It's not your job to make sure the time wasn't wasted. That's their fault. It's not your job to get involved. If the prosecution fucked up, it's over. It should be over. Have a spine. Like at this point, that courthouse is full of cocksuckers in robes who won't do the right thing. We've seen this now. How many judges? No judge will stand up and say, "This is wrong. It has to stop." We won't see that from you. Display some fucking integrity, Judge. Display some fucking integrity. Now, with that said, there was a lot of talk to judges like, you guys better figure shit out. Since then, this morning and into today, the defense attorneys have been meeting one-on-one up in the prosecutor's office, and it sounds like we might have plea deals being worked out. Because a couple of the attorneys in Young Thug did say, "Fine, Judge, give us a mistrial without prejudice," which I think is bullshit. This should be a mistrial with prejudice. The state has earned that problem. But we will see what happens. We will see what happens. Yeah. So Young says, read the plea deal. There hasn't been a plea deal out for it yet. Is there? Like, what are you talking about? There is no Young Thug plea deal right now. There's still some working on it, but there's a bunch going down, but we don't know for sure yet. Yes, most judges favor the state, and it's disgusting. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. But as of right now, we know that Young Thug, Shannon, and Yak Gotti have turned down plea offers. It sounds like those are some of the allegations there. Shannon is Shannon Stillwell. So it looks like a couple of them have turned down. But we'll find out we'll find out a little more, but as of right now, we'll find out a little more that happens. But for right now, we'll find out more. But like I said, the Young Thug and the guys, they're kind of getting screwed. They're kind of getting screwed right now. Lots of judges are foreign prosecutors. Oh, I agree. It's absolute shit, though. Yes, the state is more than a death penalty for this case. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. And Android says, how's a 10-month trial due process? Well, if it really required 10 months, the due process would allow for it. But for right now, yes, this case is an abomination. And Android is over talking on Rumble. Joe Schmo says, listening to me is a half hour behind at 2 times. That's an experience. Yes. 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 Polly Popcorn says, state handed the witness the unredacted copy, which is what it sounds like. And that's fucking amateur hour. Yeah, and it sounds like Woody, the guy who refused to testify before, Lil Woody, it sounds like he was a murderer and he's getting immunity. So, yeah. So that's where we are with that. So where are we? How far did we get here? Okay, so real quick, chat. We got a couple of comments to get through here. First of all, EDW Raptor gifted 10 more subs. Thank you. And then Stephen Cooper says for $10, I hope everyone's week goes better than mine. Bank of America closed my accounts for suspected check fraud without calling the issuing bank or payer. I was going to say Fifth Third Bank out here does that a lot. Did that a lot with me too. So I know that feeling. Sorry to hear that, man. And Tuesday, 13 guns were stolen from my house. Fuck my life. Well, man, I am really sorry to hear that. I hope they find them. Hope they find them and hope they're still in one piece and hope they find the guys who did it. And hope whoever did it has like some of the, I don't know, like some of the nastiest Ebola shits in their life as they die a slow, painful death. But yeah, anyways, good luck. Be safe. Hope those guys don't try to come back and come back to your house again. So be safe, Stephen. But thank you for the support earlier. Mark Tryon says, I thought it was funny that all the lawyers in the state jumped on the file. Oh, I'm talking about Sarah Boone. Yeah. Jack Matt says, Judge Glanville's a terribly corrupt judge. Yeah, he is. And Dry Boke says, you got to fight for your right to ex parte. You kind of do have to fight to have the right to do an ex parte. J-Rock, who's an attorney down in Hotlanta, says, the downfall of a once well-respected judge. That's the funny thing. Judge Glanville was highly respected. And then J-Rock says, Brian Steele taught my... Brian Steele's an attorney almost like 40 years doing this. He's been doing it forever. Brian Steele taught my first CLE class for new lawyers 22 years ago. I tried a case with him in 2009. Time flies. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I think you mentioned that before. J-Rock actually happens to know some of these guys. Knows Max Shart, knows all these people. Even knows Young Thug. Him and Young Thug, like J-Rock was the driver while Thug was out over the top of the car with the blicky just going bah, 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 bah. Or so I've heard. And then Squizgar is saying for $5, there are a lot of times I have multiple duties. Well, also Squizgar, reach out to me on Discord because we will be working on if some of you are interested. I forgot to mention this as a programming note. This weekend on Saturday, we are going to be doing a special stream that's only going to be on It's only going to be on Rumble. And why are we doing it only on Rumble? Well, because it's a special thing. It's actually going to be our Halloween Ghost Gun stream. It's going to be very spoopy. There's going to be, it's Ghost. Ooh, spooky. Could we have special guests? Very possibly. We're trying to work on getting some guests to come on. Should be a lot of fun. So if you guys can, we'll be doing that over on Rumble. Rumble exclusive. So hopefully if you guys want to join us there, that should be a fun time. Get Wiggers on. I got some people I might be having on. Very special guest where I grope the... What? No. Stop. Oh, should be fun. Bring on Matt, then declare a state of total tranny death. I don't know. There's a bunch of people I actually asked to come on. We'll see if they want to. But anyways, do you have to pay to get on Rumble? No, it's just like YouTube. Just log in. It's there, potentially criminal. You'll find it. And that'll be the thumbnail anyway. But yeah, that'll be... we're shooting for Saturday night, probably around 8:30 will be the time, guys. Panzer Dude says you and a Josh stream would be cool. But yeah, that might be coming soon. But for this, we'll be working on that. Wait, those weren't ghosts. That's the KKK. Well, yeah, maybe. All right, chat. So moving on from there, the Daniel Penny trial is going. And if you guys remember Daniel Penny, he is the nice boy who gave a guy a hug on a subway car. And if you guys don't remember, he gave the guy a hug on the subway car, and that guy, he had a bad day. So Daniel Penny was set to go to trial, and his trial did begin this week. But the only update I have for you guys is that jury selection continues. And that was published today. They've been doing jury selection, and the jury will remain anonymous due to threats made to the prosecution, defense, and the potential jurors. So jury selection is still ongoing. There are no new updates. I know you guys wanted to hear about this trial, but nothing new's happened. So, yeah. Yes, they couldn't handle the positive vibes, yes. Now, Fire PA is bringing up a thing. They don't wish they allowed cameras in federal cases. This is not a federal case. This is a case in New York State, it's like New York State court. So New York State courts do not allow cameras at the trial level. I don't even think judges can allow for that on their own. So that's why. This is not a federal case. But yes, he is set to go to trial for killing the crazy psychotic black guy who was threatening people on the train and scared the shit out of everybody. So good luck to Daniel Penny. I think he'll be all right at the end of the day. Killing Spree says, has there been an instance of cameras in federal cases? What would need to change to make that happen? To change the federal law. Basically, you'd have to amend the Judiciary Act, probably. And then the Supreme Court would have to push this onto the federal court system below it. So, not going to happen. Never going to happen, probably. As much as we want. But for now, not. Does that mean no cameras in the Long Island serial killer case? Probably. I don't think there's any provision for it. So. Mark says he should have got the guy to full Nelson instead of a chokehold. Well, if you guys watch the video, the chokehold isn't really a chokehold. The guy's moving around, flopping like a fish everywhere. He's basically restraining him from behind and just has a hand up around the guy's head. But it was just mainly to control him. So I don't think a little different there as far as things are concerned. And then that is the update there. There's another update, and this is an update in the Illinois assault weapons ban case, and this is from Firearms Policy Coalition. Matt LaRosier's favorite firearms advocacy group. There's been some updates in the case of Harold v. Raoul. It's the change to the challenge to the Illinois assault weapons ban and magazine ban. And the biggest thing is that on the 21st, the plaintiffs, so the people challenging Illinois and the state of Illinois, both filed proposed findings of fact and conclusions of law. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, that means these are things they want the court. They're proposing these are the facts we want the court to agree to and accept, and findings of law they want them to agree to and accept. So we're getting to the end stage where the Seventh Circuit's going to make a ruling. It'll be very, very interesting. And from there, we will go ahead and find out. Now, coming up, I was hoping to do it tomorrow, and we might have time to do it tomorrow. Although, I reached out to Bob Mata from Defense Diaries podcast. He's been out in Delphi covering the Richard Allen case. We might be able to have him tomorrow as a special guest, talk about the case very in depth. And if we can get him on, we will not do that tomorrow. We will do Bob tomorrow and probably do the assault weapons ban over the weekend. So just keep your eyes peeled for that chat, but that's kind of our game plan, all right? But we will go over the filings there. I know some people are wondering about it. That's the update. I'm sorry, that's the only really update there. Kind of sucks in that regard, but just saying. It's kind of is what it is, chat. Kind of is what it is. Now, really touching on the Richard Allen trial, guys. Richard Allen's trial is in full tilt right now out in Delphi, Indiana. Andrea Burkhart's been covering it. Attorney Lee's out there. And Bob Mata, like I said, is out there covering it. We've learned a lot of things. Andrea Burkhart was excluded from going to view exhibits. And she pointed out, like, you can't just have credentialed media only. I'm media too. And I'm part of the public. And Judge Gold told her to fuck off. There's a lot of issues that I want to wait till I can get Andrea or Bob or somebody to talk about that have happened. But we're finding out the state's case is real shitty. The state's case is about as shitty as I think a lot of us kind of had a feeling it was going to be. It's not well put together. The witnesses are not very good. We're finding out a lot of things were not done right. We're finding out these girls were stabbed to death with 2 separate implements. Then multiple stab wounds on them. That the sticks really were strewn about in a way that indicated there was like some runic stuff going on. I mean, we're finding out a lot about this case that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense why they went after Richard Allen, including the 3 women who claimed to have seen the guy on the bridge, and none of them identified Richard Allen. And it was interesting because we talked about last week, the court sketches, the FBI sketches were excluded. Well, one of those witnesses mentioned, oh yeah, and I did a facial sketch. I sat down with a guy and we did a sketch. So guess what? It's probably coming in at some point. So that'll be the good news. That'll be the good news there. There's a lot going for Richard Allen, it sounds like, but it's still, I think Bob Mata, I'm trusting his gut on this, that it seems like the jury's not really been convinced so far. I know Andrea's been very kind of, she's getting a little down the way the court's going and the way things are here. And yeah, I don't know how they've kept upbeat as they have, because the way the court is just fucking Richard Allen at this point, and just everybody in general, would really piss me off. So my hat's off to them that they're doing this better than I ever could. Better than I ever could. Hold on here. Bob Mata has a hate group. It made me laugh. Yeah, well, I can't believe they do. But that's the problem with the true crime people. They're fucking loons. They're fucking loons. And there's nothing you can do about it. So, Yeah, there's literally nothing that connects Richard Allen, except for Richard Allen fucking talking to the police and mentioning, oh, I have a gun in the same caliber as the bullet you found. So, yeah. Hold on one second. What? Oh, geez. 2.0 tried to drop a joke in here, and I just Helen Kellered my way. I Helen Kellered my way through that, baby. I am so sorry. She tried to make a joke about, well, the bullet they found, did that come from Nick's house? Was it a 22 caliber casing? And it took me a minute. I was just like, what? And she had a banger of a joke, and I just squandered it. Chat, forgive me. Chat, forgive me. Oh. Cases, are there 12 jurors? Yes. But yeah. So his name is Dick Allen? Yes. Yes. Hold on here. Yeah, don't talk to the cops. If he hadn't talked to the cops, he probably would have been okay. But he talked to the fucking cops voluntarily. I'm gonna help. Yes, the murder shits, people, the murder sheets. I don't even know who the fuck they are, but yeah, there's an entire, like, the entire anti-Richard Allen crowd is full of fucking lunatics. It's so weird. Yes, Hodor says, it's not true crime, Sean. Oh, I own Ninja Throwing Stars, you can tell. No, actually, I don't. I can make some, though. That should be fun. I should do that. So, Pierre told me to run, Clyde. So, I failed. I know I failed you guys. I'm so sorry. Brewberries, what did you say? The wedding's off? No, it's not bad. Fruit fly. Okay. Did the bullet have a watermark? No, it did not. No, it did not. There was no watermark on the bullet. That said, moving on to the Rekieta question. We're going to touch on this really quick, chat. The Rekieta question, the RQ, as coined by PPP. There is a Rekieta question out there, and yes, there's an update on some things. So Kayla, the Nick Rekieta's betrothed, did file a motion to suppress and motion to dismiss. This is very bare bones, but from what I understand, she's probably going to show up in court next week, and it's a motion to suppress, motion to dismiss. And on October 28th, they will move the court for an order, and that means, I think at this point, this is more of a notice that they're going to do it. They want to suppress all evidence, statements, and confessions as a result of state's unlawful search of the home. As a result of defective search warrant. The search warrant was defective because it was based on insufficient probable cause. And based on the suppression, they want to dismiss counts 1, 2, and 3 for lack of probable cause. They anticipate no witness testimony. And that doesn't mean they don't have a case. It's just they're going to be able to, like, say, Your Honor, look, here are problems. Here's case law that supports it. And this is signed by Maggie Kluver, Kayla's attorney. Once again, I am thrilled that Kayla got her own fucking counsel and isn't relying on Nick and the fucking Barnes Walker. I mean, holy shit. I mean, there's a bunch of things with this that are good. Like, first of all, we're not relying on a fucking Frank's motion. We're not gunning that out and then forgetting all our other fucking defenses. So, good job so far, Kayla. Your attorney seems very smart and very competent. I think you're in very good hands. Listen to her. Don't listen to Nick. Listen to the people who actually who can care about you and do so in a competent manner. So it's going to be interesting there. Yes, Franks. Is this motion justified? Actually, I don't know. Is it justified? Nope, it's not justified. Although when you're doing bullet points, like I kind of give you the benefit of like, that's okay if it's not justified. That's not I'm willing to let that slide there. I am a benevolent dictator. I will allow that to happen. Oh yeah, that's the April Rekieta's baby bump. Yes. Second mom, your second mom. Kids, your second mom will take over. Okay. Michelle says the same filing. Yeah, but this probably will be a little better. I'm assuming there'll be some competent defense lawyering on this one. It'll also help that Kayla's not going to write her own motions. That will be very helpful to her. That will be very, very helpful to her. So. Oh my gosh, you guys are just ridiculous. No, we're not answering these questions. Anyway, Android says they need a kosher Frank's motion. Is that one Joe could file the kosher Frank's motion? Dell says, how can the Kayla's search be unlawful, but Nick's isn't? Because here's the neat thing. Nick's filing was fucking awful. They focused on the Frank's motion. They're like, Franks! And they forgot to address all the other issues that were out there. So Nick squandered it. They literally pissed it away. So Kayla might get a dismissal for, like, it would be fucking hilarious if Kayla got her charges thrown out, challenging probable cause, and the court agreed, but because Nick Helen Kellered his way through his motion and precluded the ability to raise other issues, he can't do that. That would be, what's the word Nick likes to use all the time? Embarrassing. That'd be really fucking embarrassing, chat. Really embarrassing. Like, oh my God. That'd be embarrassing. I mean, the only other thing that could be more embarrassing is I don't know, going on Twitter and saying a bunch of shit that could be used against you. Like, you start talking about, complaining about loving life and being an optimist, and sometimes you say shit that sounds like an optimist who loves life and life fucks you like a pessimist from Tinder. And then somebody brings up, they say by life, you mean doing a bunch of blow and swinging, right? And among other things here, and wait, where did it go? There we go. And as somebody says, do you love your kid's life when they're dirty, smelly, hungry, and begging for food and attention at church and school? Nick says they never were. And somebody brings up, and you never did coke. And Nick says, and this is Nick's account, chat. So there's a presumption this is a certified account that Nick has control over. There's a presumption this is Nick saying this. I did a fucking mountain of cocaine. I did a fucking mountain of cocaine. And Stringer Bell, once again, it's evergreen, chat.
Nigga, is you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? What the fuck is you thinking, man?
I mean, really, what the fuck? Why would you say that? Oh, I was just joking. It's sarcasm. Nobody thinks it's a joke. You're not funny. Nobody thinks you're funny. People think, like, Exhibit 1, Your Honor. Your Honor, I was just joking. It's so weird and funny. It's like going to Denny's, Your Honor. No, it's not going to work, Nick. It's not going to work. But, Your Honor, you got to wear the ball, though. Your Honor, I want you recused. Eric July must have put you up to this. Because everybody knows I'm funny. I tell funny jokes. I'm the joke man. Like, why would you do this to yourself? Why? Why? Holy Jesus. You're not going to ack your way out of this, Nick. Holy cow, homie. So yeah, there's some Rekieta updates, and it's one of them is don't be a complete fucking retard and tweet out that you committed crimes. That's the other big update there, chat. That's the other big update. Don't be fucking retarded. Don't be fucking retarded. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy, chat. It's pretty easy to do. Oh. Oh. Okay, chat. Yeah, so. Oh, let's see here. What? Hold on here. What? Guys, that is not really Nick, just so you're aware. That is not him. I can tell you that much. So don't worry about the super chat. Whoever sent that to me, thank you so very much for the $1.99 of I've really begun to suffer Baldo out. Yes, that is not really Nick. So don't worry, chat. I just double checked. Although Nick would do something like that, but you never know. Yes, it's almost Halloween. I'll be passing out Coke. Yes, this is my alt. Yeah, I'm using my own alt to troll you guys. Oh. Jesus. You guys are ridiculous. This is so funny. Oh. Liquid Rekieta in chat. Yes. That's so funny. Yellow Flash, how you doing, buddy? It's good to see you saying, lol, what an idiot. He really posted those? Yes, he did. And then he tried to gay up that I was doing something and forgot he wasn't using a fucking sock account and deleted it. So good job, Nick. Good job. Yes, EDW Raptor says, it was great seeing Brianna Wu felting Nick today. Now I just want to see Nick tagged by Alejandro Caraballo. It's Alejandro, not Alejandra. But yes, I understand your sentiments. Yes, Nick got fucking BTFO'd by Brianna Wu. Hold on, Sleazy, what did you say? Sean is lying, chat. That's totally 100% the real Nick. No, it's not the real Nick. Nick's legal strategy is a Sean impersonation defense. Yes. He's going to be Your Honor. That wasn't my house. That was Sean Martin's house. The fat man was a shapeshifter like a Jew. He tried to make my kids do cocaine. Yes, I'm sure that's going to be the argument now. Oh my gosh. Yes, I'm paying myself right now, not Aaron. That's right. Yes, I'm paying myself, chat. Yes, Rekieta says, the Bear Jew strikes again. Yes. Oh. Okay. Anyway, guys, that's kind of the updates there. Oh, I thought I'd fill everybody in because I know some of you guys were wondering and people were asking and people were all concerned about it. So, moving on from there, there are some updates in a case that we were looking at and we talked about last week, I think, or the week before, and it was and it was about the Menendez brothers, Lionel and Eric Menendez, for the 1989 murders of their mom and dad. And they've been in prison ever since. They were given life in prison. Well, there was a push, and we saw it last week, and we talked about it. The family on both sides, the entire family is like, wait, their dad probably was abusing people and was a big piece of shit. So let's let them out of prison. The entire family had a press conference about that. And they spoke to George Gascon, the LA District Attorney, and he said he was going to make a decision coming up. And once you know, in the middle of the Sarah Boone trial, he did that today, and he gave a press conference. And I do think it's important to talk about this because this does address a lot of the issues that go on with, as much as people want to say, oh, well, he's the California DA and fuck him and rah, 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 rah. Yes, but this does address a lot of things of what's going on here. And we want to, I think it's worth addressing and worth looking into. So we are going to take a look at this. And like I said, just listen to him because it's well thought out. It's not like him just going, oh, well, who cares? Criminals go free. I'm California attorney, man. That's not how it's set up. Villanova Law says, let's let people out of prison based on Netflix in a public poll. Well, at times it feels like that's better than the way parole boards do it because they don't always do it the right way. So, Mark Pugner is saying, it feels like the Menendez brothers happened last year. I'm like, gosh, man, I don't want to tell you how old I am because I was not that old when the Menendez brothers happened. But yes, guys, Lyle and Eric, it made news all over the country. It was a big deal. But the LA District Attorney gave a hearing, and we are going to watch it right here. So this is him. There was, guys, just so you know, it was 54 minutes of waiting. There wasn't actually like 54 minutes of press conference. I can promise you that. So don't panic. Don't panic. Damn it, I can't cover up their watermark. We'll have to fair use it. Anyways, here we go, chat. This is the district attorney, George Gascon, and here we go.
Some other people that are here with me, and I hope I'm pronouncing the names right because I've seen handwritten part of it. But I have Ana Maria Barat, Jose Menendez, Jose Menendez, and niece Karen Vandermolen, and Katie's niece. They're all here with us. Also with us here is Brock Lunsford. He's the assistant head deputy for the post-litigation conviction unit, and Nancy Cervier, who is the deputy district attorney in charge of the resentencing unit. Let me begin by telling you that this is a case where we've had many people in this office spend a great deal of time reviewing the case. I can tell you unequivocally that we don't have a universal agreement. There are people in the office that strongly believe that the Menendez brothers should stay in prison.
1989, not 94.
And they do not believe that they were molested. And there are people in the office that strongly believe that they should be released immediately and that they were in fact molested. I have to tell you that after a very careful review of all the arguments that were made for people on both sides of this equation, I came to a place where I believe that under the law, resentencing is appropriate, and I am going to recommend that to a court tomorrow. What that means in this particular case is that we're going to...
So he is recommending that they get resentenced, and he's going to explain what happens from here, chat.
I recommend to the court that the life without the possibility of parole be removed and that they will be sentenced for murder, which, because there are two murders involved, that will be 50 years to life. However, because of their age, under the law, since they were under 26 years of age at the time that these crimes occurred, they will be eligible for parole immediately. The teams that have worked on this, on the resentencing side of it, have spent literally probably hundreds of hours by now looking at this case. These cases were originally presented on the habeas side of it, which I'll explain in a moment what that is, last year, and then the request for a prosecutor-initiated resentencing occurred earlier this year. And there have been people in this office working in these cases from the very beginning, as well as many other cases that we have. The reason why I'm here today and why I came in front of all of you about 10 days ago is because there was a more recent documentary about the case that again brought a tremendous amount of public attention. And we know there have been other documentaries, so this is not the first, this is the more recent one. And frankly, our office got flooded with requests for information And even though this case was already scheduled to be heard in late November, I decided to move this forward because, quite frankly, we did not have enough resources to handle all the requests. And one of the things that I thrive to do in this office is to be very transparent in everything that we do.
Now, that's the interesting part. This was already set in motion well before the documentary came out. But because of the documentary and everybody spazzing out, he's like, well, shit, I guess we'll just kick it off. So it's interesting how that happens.
In this case, we review the prison files. And you have to understand that the way the process works, when you're talking about a sentence and resentencing under the law, it really focuses not necessarily on what the original crimes were, but it focuses on, has the person been rehabilitated, number one, and number two, can they be released safely into the community? Under that rubric, since I've been in office, we have resentenced over 300 people, including 28 for murder. Only 4 have reoffended. If that was a regular recidivism rate in this country, we would be the safest nation in the world, but we know that it's not. In fact, somewhere between 40 and 50% of the people that go to prison reoffend and get rearrested. And that's why we have so many problems. However, when you look at the case of the Menendez brothers, you see 2 very young people, one was 19 and the other was 21, when they committed this horrible acts. And I want to underline, they were horrible acts. There is no excuse for murder. And I will never imply that what we're doing here is to excuse that behavior, because even if you get abused, the right path is to call the police, seek help. But I understand also how sometimes people get desperate. We often see women, for instance, that have been battered for years, and sometimes they will murder their abuser out of desperation. And I do believe that the brothers were subjected to a tremendous amount of dysfunction in the home and molestation. But they went to prison for life without the possibility of parole, which meant that certainly under the law at that time, they had no hopes of ever getting out. They could have done what many other people do, which is basically said, you know what, I'm here for the rest of my...
And guys, this coming up here is actually something that's very important. Having worked in a prosecutor's office where I had to handle judicial releases and people up for parole, we would get your prison file. What have you done? What are you doing? What class? Are you in classes? Are you in education? Are you working in groups? Are you helping people? Like anything at all that shows like you're being serious about like your time there and not just sitting around playing cards all day and getting into fights on the tier. Because if you're doing that, you're not going to get out. And this is something, we want people to get rehabilitated. So it sounds like the Menendez brothers did fucking rehabilitation. So just think about it a little bit.
Life. So I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to misbehave. I'm going to join gangs. I'm going to live the life of a prison. But they never did that. To the contrary, even though they didn't think that they would ever be left free, they engaged in a different journey. A journey of redemption and a journey of rehabilitation. And often the people that begin their journey of rehabilitation and redemption in prison is often very internal. And what they do, and one of our lawyers pointed out this today, is usually the path is people try to further their education, do things for self-improvement, which the brothers have done, by the way. But it's more unique or less usual, I guess, when people not only do that, but they also begin to engage in ways to make life for others better. And in this case, the brothers have been doing so for a very long time, creating groups to deal with how to address untreated trauma, creating groups to deal with other inmates that have physical disabilities and may be treated differently. Even in one case, Lyle negotiating for other inmates as to the conditions that they live under during prison. And all this was done by 2 young people. Now they're not as young. They had no hopes of ever getting out of prison. They have been in prison for nearly 35 years. I believe that they have paid their debt to society. And the system provides a vehicle for their case to be reviewed by a parole board. And if the parole concurs with my assessment, and it will be their decision, they will be released accordingly. I must underline, however, this case will be filed in court tomorrow. The final decision will be made by the judge. Court has to agree with my conclusion.
And that's the thing. The court can decline to agree. Although, this is a situation where the victims, so the entire Menendez family, is like, we're cool with it. And the state's saying we're cool with it. A judge could say, nope, I don't want to.
That they deserve to be resentenced. It is very possible that there may be members of this office that will be present in court opposing the resentencing. And they have a right to do so. And we encourage those that disagree with us.
That's fucking wild. He's going to let... If you work in my office and you want them to stay in fucking prison, you're allowed to make your opposition known. That's fucking wild. He's letting people do that.
To speak, and the court is the appropriate place to do it. We certainly feel we're very sure not only that the brothers have rehabilitated and that they will be safe to be reintegrated in our society, but that they have paid their dues, not only for the crimes that they committed, but because of all the other things they have done to improve the life of so many others. So, again, we will be filing.
So there you go, guys. It looks like the Menendez brothers are probably going to get out. And if they get out, it'll probably be pretty damn quick, which is pretty interesting. You know, we weren't sure that was going to happen, but it looks like it's going to happen. All right. So let's see. What are you guys saying there? Yeah, that's so we can have a list of people he can get rid of. Yeah, I don't know. Will the family financially support them? Will they have to say they won't ask for public assistance? No. I don't think there's any of that obligations for that. He's running for re-election. He wants to seem super fair, sure. And this looks really good in the press. But also, I mean, it's 35 fucking years for murders that's a lot of fucking time. And if these guys are eligible under state law, then yeah, they should have every right to go forward on it. Yes, and as somebody said here earlier, the Menendez Brothers podcast is gonna rule. Oh, I know that'll be fucking epic. That'll be epic. Ty is saying, have you watched the Louisiana Parole Board hearings on YouTube? Yes, Mandu does those. He covers those all the time. And I remember he was getting fucked around with by the state of Louisiana. I remember saying, like, that guy deserved not to get copy struck. So, yeah, I watch those every once in a while. Some of those guys are fucked. But there's also times where I think the parole board's a little fucking disingenuous in how it does stuff. So, yeah. And then KJ says, why are people who sentenced to life without parole getting in front of a resentencing hearing? Because they're allowed to. Under state law, they're allowed to be there because they were under the age of 26 at that time. Yeah, why not? If they're bad, then the judge could say no, and then they go back to prison forever. You know, that's, if you're not, you know, at some point, like, things have to be reviewed. I think. Let's see here. That judge is not going to be pressured by the DA. Well, that's a separate issue, but remember, they're all elected officials, so they all have to consider things. Near says, what about the murdered people? Did they say they were cool with it? No, but hey, you know, that's how that works. The victims always say no. Does that count? Hope the judge says fuck off. Yeah, the judge might. The judge might. Muy faithful. Look at the shekels. Yes. Didn't they inherit $44 million? Well, here's the thing. And this is something somebody wanted to bring up, and I wanted to discuss this, is California has what's called a Slayer statute. And I brought this up before in other situations here, but it's called a Slayer statute. And that statute dictates that, and this is most states, I assume almost all of them have it. But this is a very important stat. This is part of probate law because the idea is you're taking under probate. You know, somebody dies, so it involves succession, so probate law. So you affect the homicide or abuse of an elder or dependent adult. So any person who feloniously and intentionally kills a decedent is not entitled to any of the following. And this is where it comes to any property, interest, or benefit under a will of the decedent or a trust created for the benefit of the decedent, in which your decedent had a special interest, including general special powers of appointment. So, for example, if your mom says, I'm putting you in the will, and upon my death, you get my Ferrari, and you're like, all right, well, I'm going to go boop, right to the back of your mom's head, you don't get the Ferrari anymore. Now, here's the thing. And in Ohio, there's case law on this, and I know other states because I had to look this up because we had an issue for a client I was dealing with during COVID. The issue is if it's not provable, if the police won't indict, you can still prove that the person feloniously and intentionally and unlawfully killed the other person by a preponderance of evidence. You just basically hold a murder trial in a probate court. So it was very interesting. So you can't kill them if the killer, and if it turns into that, you become the executor, trustee, or guardian. You don't get to take those powers. Any property of the decedent by intestate succession, meaning if they die without a will and you're the last living heir, you don't get the stuff. Any of their quasi-community property, if it was your husband or wife. And you're not entitled to any other interest in property. So, no, under California law, they do not get to have the property. Now, the family may give them money, sure, but they're not entitled to any money under, even if they were to be pardoned. The pardon is the removal of your sentence, but the punishment would still be there, and you are not entitled to take. So you don't get that. And I think it's interesting. It's an interesting issue there. So the brothers don't get that. Provision of grief says, my opinion, punishments should be preventative, reformative, and retributive. I agree. And somebody asked earlier, and I didn't have a chance to click on them, do I believe in rehabilitation? Well, at some point you have to, because otherwise we're just fucking warehousing violent fucking people till they come back out and prey on people. And at some point, we just better start fucking killing them, because if they're running around like feral dogs, there's only one way to deal with that. So, yeah, I'd like to hope we can rehabilitate people to an extent. Otherwise, we just need to start killing people. And it's like, I'd rather the state not kill as many people as possible. And Bobby Yaga says Joe Rogan will get them first. Yes, that will be there. So Valerie Gerasimov, Generalissimo, you're doing God's work out there in the Donbass. So do they get the money? No, it's a no-no for them. But the people could give them money if they wanted to. So, can they claim the parents' life insurance now if they had any? No, because I'm sure the life insurance would determine that they wouldn't pay that out to them. I'm sure there's a provision or some way for them to fight it. Now, that's a contract. Life insurance is contractual. So that's why you hear about people dying or they get divorced and they forget to switch it over and the ex gets the life insurance and not the current spouse, because it's a contract who's on the line. Now, if you murder that person, I think they have provisions for that. And either way, the life insurance company probably said, we're not paying it out. We dare you to fucking sue us. Well, they're stuck in prison, so nobody can sue them. So let's see here. Could this happen for the teen school shooters who got life without parole? If they're in California, sure, but in other states, probably not. This is a specific California law, so it's not a Supreme Court thing. This is California law that was in effect. So they'd have to be in California and did it. Let's see. Will Mossberg release a Menendez Brothers edition? Yeah. Oh, don't let Gascon move fully. He's a dirtbag. Oh, I understand he's a dirtbag. He's a Soros DA. But you know what? He's doing something that I don't disagree with. I mean, it's like George Gascon's breathing oxygen. Don't fall for it, chat. It's all a scam. Chat, Kamala Harris drinks water. Don't drink the water, chat. Like, no. At some point, you have to say, okay, look, even the people who are shitbags are doing something I agree with. That doesn't mean I think George Gascon's my bro, but he did something I agree with, so he gets a pat on the back for that. Jim, how are you doing, Jim? Jim says, I'm a bigger fan of the Anthrax statue as opposed to the Slayer statue. Dude. Oh. The wrestling match of the Menendez brothers because versus the Island brothers, yeah. Oh, that would be interesting. They can make money with their TED Talks. Yes. Oh, okay. Let's see here. Could you sue someone with power of attorney? I don't. What do you mean? Like if I give you power of, if I assign you power of attorney, can I sue you for abusing the power of attorney I grant you? Yeah. I think that's what you're asking. Can you drink the watermarks? I don't know if that'd be a good idea. I don't know. I don't know if you'd like that or not. All right, here, chat. So there's some other comments here. Unhung Hero for $2 says, "Oh, I'm gonna cope." Nick. And good logic for 199 says, "Look at the monies." Thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Non-Joe. The Generalissimo says, "Can I sue someone for fun?" Sir, you should work on pacifying the Donbass right now. You know. And more importantly, General, why is Kiev not a pile of smoking glass right now? Sir, please fix that. Lots of fakers out tonight. Well, you don't think that's really Nick and that really wasn't one of the leading Russian generals? I don't believe so. Oh. But yeah, anyways, guys, even if it's for optics or whatever, it works out. You know, means to an end. It's a means to an end. Means to an end, my white friend. Android saying, "Thanks for the stream, Sean. Have a good night." Well, take care, man. What are you guys over in locals? Oh, it stopped. You guys haven't talked in a little while. I sold all the vest and optics for vodka and a new car. Well, dude, come on, man. It's not how you win. Oh, over at locals, Demon's Rat says, "Fuck you, sandwich man." Well, at least you guys are there. No, I know it flew. I know. I believe that's April Rekieta's baby bump. Do you think people would come on the internet and lie? Do you really think people would do that? I don't think they would. I think people tell the truth on the internet. Oh. So, yes, no, never. Oh, so anyways, guys, we're going to move on from there. What's the next thing we got? Get rid of that. Rid of this. Rid of this. Rid of this. Rid of this. All right, rid of that. Ooh, we're in the home stretch, chat. We are in the home stretch. So, all right, guys, moving on from there, we have a January 6th case involving trespassing that came down. Now, a lot of people were saying with January 6th that there was a trespassing charges being used. And a lot of people are saying, but wait, the doors were open. We were invited in. Now, this is from the DC circuit, so we'll see what happens. And the issue is, it's here. And the issue comes from the charge used against most of the January 6th defendants entering the restricted area charge. And this is the guy, Coy Griffin. He was charged. He's from New Mexico. He was charged with a federal misdemeanor. So what happened there? Well, more than 1,400 people have been charged with this. And there's still more to go, guys. Remember, the DOJ is looking to go after a couple thousand more at least. Like 1,000 or 2,000 more people minimum. And one of those people is a guy you've probably seen before if you've ever been on Future Conflicts, or if you go back to the internet Bloodsport years, Don the Pleb. Guys, Don the Pleb got indicted for some January 6 hijinks just this summer. And if you guys want to help him at Give, Send, Go out there, raising some legal fees, you certainly can. I know he would appreciate it. And you guys can help him out there. But yes, he's one of the people being charged too, among other things. But this is a case that we'll take a look at this because it's interesting, but it's also 80 pages. So we don't have time to go over it tonight. But they rejected a claim that the government needs to prove that people were aware the Capitol grounds were restricted because Mike Pence was inside. So people had to know that. But the Court of Appeals, an Obama appointee and a Clinton appointee, concluded that trespassing is passed to boost security for Secret Service protectees. Requiring the prosecutors to prove that the trespassers knew they were aware of a Secret Service protectee's presence would be illogical and impair the Secret Service's ability to protect its people, which doesn't make much sense because it's the vice president going to a congressional function. Shouldn't you, people are going to know? That was a bit of an issue here. Isn't that a bit of an issue? How does that going to work? How does that work when you know, but we can't tell anybody? Well, then how's that going to work? Yeah, and what do you do when the cop waves you in? How does that work? How does that work? I don't know, chat. I don't know. So they point out the government was not required to prove that the defendants were aware the vice president was the reason the grounds remained restricted. A person trespassing on grounds he knows are restricted, where he knows he lacks permission, may be convicted of a federal misdemeanor, even if he doesn't know that a Secret Service protectee is within. But a lot of people were waved in, so how do they know that it's restricted? If people aren't telling you to leave, how do you know you're not allowed to be there? So it's just it's going to be very interesting because I think the Supreme Court's probably going to take this up. But yes, the law was passed after JFK and his brother and other people were murdered, and it allows the knowing trespass to cover areas protected by the Secret Service. But yes, the judges said the goal was targeted at a small subset of trespassings that implicate the personal security of high-profile officials and also necessarily the national security of the United States. Yeah, bullshit. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. David, how you doing from MLS? I hear there was a Rekieta in here. No, not tonight. Nope. Now, yes, it does allow the Justice Department to breathe a sigh of relief because of the uncertainty and also some rulings that were adverse to them that chipped away at hundreds of the cases it brought against January 6 protesters. So, yes, it was very interesting. The DOJ is so happy, and it should be tough for them, and fuck them. Yep. Oh, yeah, worst insurrection ever, chat. This is worse than 9/11 times 11. This is worse than 100 Pearl Harbors, chat. So dangerous. So dangerous. So dangerous. Now, remember, we have the issue because the Supreme Court already did a January 6th case. And remember, it was the law about obstructing Congress. And they tried to use the Sarbanes-Oxley Act to go after people when that was clearly meant for white-collar criminals. So the Supreme Court said, no, you have to narrowly look at it. So a bunch of cases got fucking tossed. They point out, though, there's no way to know how does it work? If you're walking by an area for a closed event and you're at a hotel and you look for a bar and the first lady's expected to be there and you walk in the wrong room, you're trespassing, federal protectee, now you go to prison. No, you have to know. Otherwise, how do you know you're in a danger zone? Because, yeah, then fine, give them the basic trespassing, fine. But to slap the further liability on them doesn't work. That wouldn't work. And yes, let's say you cross over an area and you're carrying a gun. You could face up to 10 years for that. Well, how would that work? That wouldn't be fair. You got to have notice of what you're doing. And either way, the outcome may determine on what's going to happen to the presidential election. If Trump wins, he said he will issue pardons for some or all the January 6th defendants. I'll believe it when I fucking see it. I don't trust Trump at this point to do it. It'd be nice if he did, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't see Trump doing it. I don't think he's got the balls. If he does, I'll be fucking thrilled, but we'll see. We'll see. So that's the big thing there, guys. We'll find out. That is the big thing there. We'll find out. I wish I could tell you there was better news there, but don't count on it. Don't count on it. Moving on from there, and last two things we're going to wrap up with tonight. The Francis Scott Key Bridge that was, very conveniently trampled and tumbled by a container ship. Well, the owner and operators of that Grace Open Private Limited and two Singapore-based corporations who own the boat agreed to pay a $100 million settlement to the Department of Justice for knocking down the bridge. And you guys remember this happened on March 26th. They killed the 6 guys working on the bridge. This is one of the major arteries in Baltimore that's been severed. In addition to that, Baltimore Harbor has a lot of marine traffic in it. And yes, it caused so many problems. And the $100 million supposedly goes to the cleanup and the damage caused, but I don't think it fixes the bridge. So we'll see what happens there. As it was after the cargo vessel lost power and regained power, then lost it again, hitting the Maryland Bridge in the early morning hours. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But yes, the DOJ said the settlement doesn't include any damages for reconstruction of the bridge. So we'll find out what happens from there. I know you'll probably get some Maritime Mondays with Jeff, but I thought I'd take it now because I thought it's very interesting. Yes, escape from Baltimore. Well, yeah, now you have to go through the row houses. So that'll be rough. And then in a little bit of funniness, and I don't know if you guys saw this, Lucas Kuntz, or Kuntz, I'm pretty sure it's Lucas Kuntz. He is the Democrat candidate for Missouri Senate going up against Josh Hawley, is running and an arms control negotiator and a Marine veteran. Okay. Well, he had a event. He wanted to show people he was went with Adam Kinzinger. You guys remember him? He's the guy from Illinois who didn't like Trump and was on the January 6th committee. And then what happened? Well, they stole his fucking seat from him and redistricted him. Very funny. Very, very, very funny stuff. And Ag, we're going to get to that next. There was an interesting thing that happened. So first of all, we're going to look at this picture. Now, if you guys haven't seen this picture before, this is Adam Kinzinger and them hanging out at a range, and they're shooting targets. Now, I'm just going to make it so you guys can figure this out here. These targets are, they consist of, these little guys right here. And they're all red. What does that mean when they're red? That generally means that they have all these little silver marks on them. There's some sort of steel target. Now, what are they shooting? Well, they're shooting AR-15s at steel fucking targets. Now, why is that a problem? And chat, I will explain something to you first and foremost. Shooting at steel targets, you could do that with a pistol or a rifle or a shotgun. The distance they're shooting at is optimal for a pistol because they'll just knock the targets over. The recommended distance for safe shooting at steel targets with a rifle is about 100 yards. About 100 yards. Why? Because ricochets. It's very fucking dangerous. And here's the thing, even if there's no ricochet, just the spatter and spall of a bullet smacking into that and just blowing up, there'll be pieces of that coming back at you and getting showered with it. Which, I mean, when you see that, that sounds bad, but then it's also even worse because look at M. Kinzinger. He's not wearing his glasses, so he could get blinded by that shit. Now, on top of that, they're probably about 10 yards away at most, probably, 7 to 10. And he's using a fucking 3 to 9 power scope to shoot at things 25 feet away. This is really fucking dangerous. Don't ever fucking do it. Don't ever fucking do it. And, they're hanging out. And also, to make matters worse, when you're dealing ricochets, look what's hanging out down below them. Some tannerite. If you guys remember what tannerite is, that is the explosives, the binary explosives you could shoot at, and they explode. I'm assuming these have probably already been mixed up. So they basically have little bombs sitting on their table where they're going to have potential issue. So, yeah, it's very fucking dangerous. Once again, 100 yards away is what you do with steel targets and a rifle. So that happened. That all happened. And they got all their guns here. Also, having drinks on the firing line, guys, just so you understand, shooting etiquette, that's really not good because gunshot residue is going to get everywhere, and it's lead primers and lead salts. You're drinking fucking lead, who's ever drinking this cup. If you're going to have drinks and stuff like that behind the line on a table somewhere out of the way, you're getting shit all over you're getting crap all over your food, which you're now going to eat like an idiot. So, yeah, you don't want to do that. And as they go through the rest of this, they do some shooting. They're all having fun. They're like, yay, look at us. We're a bunch of retards and communists. And then, they're hanging out. Look, oh, yeah, I love American guns. No, you don't. You're communist, but you don't love America. Yes, so there's 2 issues that have come out. And the first one is, this guy here is a reporter, and guess what happened to him? He got shot. Now, it's more than likely some sort of ricochet or something happened, but either way, this guy got injured shooting. And it's funny because when you think about it, he's a journalist. So I kind of have to say, like, it's kind of okay. Like, he shot a journalist. You're like, but he's a Democrat. So you're like, But he shot a journalist. You're like, ah. Yes, and then there is another issue here is did they report this properly in time to law enforcement that somebody was injured in a shooting? Under state law, we don't know. And then, yes, Stabby brings up another point that the guy who owns that range and one of those rifles is probably a prohibited person from what people have been able to tell. So now we've got felons running around with guns on a Democrat photo op right before the election. Very funny. Very, 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 very funny. Very funny. Very funny. So, yes, very, very funny. Oh, very funny. Ag says, did Kunz file a police report yet? I don't know. I don't know if he did yet. Cerebral Parasite, good to see you, man. Is saying for $5, all the gun violence dispatch here has been done by lefties. Most of it is, most of the time anyway. They're dangerous people. And then Fonzie. The Fonz says doing coke and cheating on your wife is not cool. Hey! Yes. Yes. And speaking of a lack of happy days. And I forgot this earlier. Keopathic asked, could the defense in the Daniel Penny trial theoretically find a cracked out homeless guy and have Daniel do the subway stuff again to show the jury how he did it? I don't recommend that. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea to do. Oh. So, anyway. He was assaulted by an assault rifle. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. All right, chat. Well, that is it for us tonight. We got through it all. 480 people still here, guys. Thank you for all watching. I can't tell how many of you are over on Rumble, but I know some of you guys were there. And 4 of you are watching on Twitch. 4 of you. Thank you for being here. So, guys, tomorrow we are, like I said, we're going to try to have Bob Mata on to give us a really in-depth Richard Allen kind of like updates on everything. Tomorrow night also, I will be joining Jeff on Legal Vices for his Fuck It Friday. And then over the weekend, we will be working on the 7th Circuit stuff because I do think it's important to look at. And then tomorrow Saturday night, once again, chat, Saturday night, we will be doing the Halloween Ghost Gun stream over on Rumble. It'll be very spoopy. And hopefully we have some special guests. I think it'll be a very fun time. And no, I didn't hear about this Maryland cop who shot a guy's car that broke down. Nope, didn't hear about that. So, Foley says, off to log into your fake Nick Rekieta account now? Yes, exactly. Yes. So, what time Saturday? Should be about 8:30, chat. We'll be doing around 8:30, probably no earlier than that. Should be right around 8:30. So it should be fun, and we will do it from there. Katie says, we need to do a call-in show. I've got one of those planned. I need to do some work on that, but hopefully we'll get one done coming up here. So, guys, in the meantime, thank you all for being here, guys. YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch, and also, last but not least, Locals. I will see you guys over on Locals very shortly. Remember until next time. Just remember until next time. Just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. It's true. Not guilty. Unless you're Sarah Boone, then oh boy, it's not looking good, Sarah. Anyway, Sarah's going to need all the luck in the world. Take care, everybody, and have a nice night. Good night, guys.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes. esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rekieta yelled at? Why, yes it was. He